Spotify today, a brand new one. You can listen to it if you subscribe over at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or go to saywhat.media. That's saywhat.media, the official website of the Lupe and Royce Show. You can also follow us here on the gram at the Lupe and Royce Show. What is it? Oh yeah, shop.lupefiasco.com to get Lupe Fiasco t-shirts and merchandise and t-shirts, hats and hoodies at shop.lupefiasco.com. Yes. Ooh. Coronavirus is still a thing. Make sure that you're practicing physical distancing. Make sure you wear a mask that covers the mouth and the nose. Condolences to the folks who've passed during this time. Our prayers are with you and your family. If you're sick, hope you're on the road to recovery and getting better. Coronavirus is still a thing. Make sure that you're practicing physical distancing. Make sure you wear a mask that covers the mouth and the nose. Condolences to the folks who passed during this time. Our prayers are with you and your family. If you're sick, hope you're on the road to recovery and getting better. Shout to Amas Sakamini, Shajir Rauf, Pistol Pixie, Mr. Legacy Jones, Reef, Smokey the Ghost, and Oskino the Don, our resident panel of experts over here at the IG Live. Vaccinations are on the way. Shout out to all the frontline workers and the vulnerable folks, at-risk populations. It is soon coming to a close. Even though we'll still have to wear a mask and social distance for a while, at least the threat for some folks of contracting, potentially dying from COVID-19, that window is slowly closing for you, and for some of you, immediately closing. So I hope you get the opportunity to get vaccinated, so you can set that part aside. Don't have to worry about dying if accidentally your mask comes off at the grocery store, So questions, comments, concerns, you can put them in the question box. And we go from there. No, man. Keep watching. I mean, keep studying, cuz this IG Live isn't that important. Keep studying. You know what I'm saying? You know. Yeah, general public won't get the vaccine for a while. I think it'll be before the summer, to be honest. I think they're making vaccine doses every day. So eventually I think it'll be just like the masks. Remember when it was like a shortage on masks? We can't get these masks. And everybody's trying to make PPE. Once they get the production down for the vaccine at scale, I think it'll be before the summer for the general public. And you'll have other vaccines coming into play as well. So like the Moderna vaccine and the other ones. So I think we'll be flooded with vaccines within the next few months. But we probably won't be able to stop wearing masks until the summer though, for sure. why do you keep replying to the goofies when it goes to one ear and out the other? Because it makes them feel bad. Because they kind of assholes, and they assume that I'm not, and I am. So I respond to them in an asshole manner and ridicule them, and it makes them feel bad. Because they spend their lives trying to make other people feel bad, and they rarely come across somebody who is on the other side of the fence who can also make them feel bad. So these broke bitch ass niggas popping that shit. I have all the time in the world to respond in kind and make them feel like shit. And they be like, man, come on, man. I was just trying to be mean. But I respect that you king troll. King good. The petty king. Super petty. You better believe them niggas absorb that shit like, man, this bitch ass nigga Lupe. Like, shut up, nigga. Get the fuck out of here. They like, come on, man. No other celebrity pays attention to me. All publicity ain't good publicity, my nigga. You look crazy. You look crazy talking to me. Like, no, nigga. No, I don't. You look crazy. Like, no, man, you look crazy. I ain't nobody. Exactly. You ain't nobody. Like, damn, I ain't nobody. You had to remind me that I was a nobody. Like, yeah, nobody ass nigga. So anyway. You gotta bully bullies, man. Protest leaders being mysteriously murdered in cities where major protests and riots occurred. I mean, rest in peace to them. Rest in peace to their families. Condolences and stuff like that. But I think sometimes people forget that places where these protests are occurring are violent motherfucking places. That's the reason that you even have such a police presence and a police force and certain toxic relationships between the police and the community, because these places have been fucking dangerous for a very long time, and frustrations run high on both sides. So I don't think it's strange, that people who were in the protest, part of the protest movement, however you want to posthumously insert them into the narrative, living in dangerous ass cities, where you don't want the police. I mean that's just part of the program. And like everybody that's in those protests, all them motherfuckers ain't good. Like you got criminals in them protests protesting like, no, we don't want no more police so I can rob this nigga. Like, you got people that's like that. Not saying that those are the folks, but it ain't like folks are just coming fresh out of church, jumping right on the scene. Like, motherfuckers they had enemies before the protest, they had beefs before the protest, and they had beefs and enemies after the protest, right? People could walk into innocent bystander situations before the protest, and people will walk into them after the protest, especially if you live in cities and neighborhoods within cities and communities where that shit is real, right? I think that's kind of show and prove why there needs to be a reformed and a deeper relationship between the police and the people in those communities, versus like, fuck the police, and then the police like, well, fuck y'all too, because at the end of the day it helps no one. But, that part. Do. Let's talk about how corporations own the government. No corporations own the government. Not here. They may work with the government. They may be able to influence the government, but they don't own the government. Right? Not at all. They may compete with the government. Public sector, private sector kind of competition, for sure. They give you options outside of the government, right? But they're not collecting taxes, because the corporations, they don't need to collect taxes, right? Because they make more money just selling you their shit that you don't need off top. So it's like, tax you. Why not tax you? I can get you to give me $1,500 right now. And you finna buy all my games. And them is $80 a pop. So let's roll. Give me that guap. Give me your wop. The government wish they could do that shit, but they can't. Shout out to Let Me Get Let's talk about stocks and what to invest in during these wild times. I don't know. I don't invest in stock, so I don't play the stock market. So I wouldn't know. I couldn't tell you. Let Me Get So I have no idea. Lupe, what are you talking about? They own politicians. No, they don't. They work with politicians. Be careful of the language that you use. Okay? Be careful of the language that you use. They work with politicians. They may have certain influence on politicians, but they don't own them motherfuckers. That's the difference. Right? Even if they did own them, peep how weak that is. If you own your house, right? You're not finna just fuck it up. Right? You're not finna just go in there and just like, all right, now I want the kitchen and the bathroom today, so everybody put the toilet in the kitchen. Nah, I mean, you stick to kind of the program that your house is, even though you own it, right? You don't go in there and try and fuck shit up or make it ridiculous or anything like that. So, actually, ownership, you would let shit alone for the most part. So they work with them, they influence them, they got certain relationships with them, they benefit and profit off each other. So it's a mutual relationship. It's not that one has domination over the other. And at the end of the day, businesses go out of business. Governments don't. Right? The American government does not. So there's that piece. Like businesses have certain weaknesses and certain, they got some shit going down. Right? And there's some companies that are strong, but they're few. Just so you know, there's some companies that are very strong, right? But they're super small, right? The amount that are like really powerful and can really do shit to you, they're small. They ain't got no sway over no fucking governments. Like that, whole governments, maybe a couple politicians here and shit like that, but nah, that's that thinking, that line of thinking. I mean, it's admirable and it has its points of interest, but it's still somewhat of a misleading kind of position to take. And if you operating off that position, you're gonna fuck yourself. Just to let you know, there's a better way to approach that situation. In the nuances versus these kind of strong, very, very objective, fatal statements. Like, oh, corporations own the government. Like, nope. Google Alphabet Incorporated is huge. You're not being intellectually honest. How huge are they? Are they bigger than the government? No. So, what's their GDP? How much money they make? Right? The GDP of the U.S. government is $24 trillion. Ain't no company in the world worth nowhere near $24 trillion. Right? No company in the world has a standing military that's going to be able to do anything to any military, to any U.S. government military force, period. Right? Even if you want to bring in contractors and XC and all these loose mercenaries, they get their ass tossed up. So I don't see what you mean. You know what I'm saying? But I'm with you. I know what Alphabet is. I know what Google is. Google doesn't own the U.S. government. The only reason Google exists is because the internet, which was introduced by the U.S. government. That's it. If there was no internet, there would be no Google. So get your facts straight of who actually runs what. If the government wanted to shut that shit down, the internet right now, that they would flip that switch and that shit would be over. Remember, the internet is a product and a property of the U.S. government, created by the U.S. military. So don't get it fucked up of who does what for who. How can the Pfizer vaccine be efficient if the virus mutates on an ongoing basis? Well, if, my friend, you had studied virology, which I think you should, you would know that viruses are made up of many parts. But even though they have many parts, they don't have a fuck ton of parts. And it's easily to identify all of the different parts of the vaccine, of the virus, because it's relatively a simple organism. And due to its nature, it doesn't have a lot of variability. Because the way a virus works, it has to maintain a certain level of consistency. And in certain viruses, the mutations are actually very rare, because if it mutated all the time, it could potentially mutate itself out of existence. So if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. So the scientists and researchers, they focused on one particular aspect of the virus, which is directly correlated to its infectiousness, which happened to be its spike, which is the spike that they use to connect to your cell. If it was unable to connect or use that spike, then the virus wouldn't mean shit, no matter how virulent it was or dangerous. It's only dangerous when it's able to connect to your cells. And if you create a vaccine which focuses directly on the spike protein and eliminates it as a threat, then the virus is basically useless. Unfortunately, that part of the virus doesn't mutate that often, so you'll be straight. You know what I'm saying? Know what I'm talking about? Just a little song for you right there. Sometimes you gotta sing it. Oh, excuse me. Lupe, is it possible to seek litigation against the vaccine corps if lethal side effects occur? Yes. Yes. You can go to vaccine court. It's a real thing. And you can state your claim. And they'll pay for your lawyer, pay for all of your science people that you're going to bring in to prove your case. And, you know, if you prove your case and if you can prove that you were actually killed, well, somebody on your family, I guess, on your behalf, because lethal means that you're dead. So you wouldn't be going to court because you'd be dead. But if you can prove it, if they can prove it, yeah, there's a recourse. It's called the vaccine court. Just Google it. Vaccine court. They just tell you everything you need to do if you get hurt. Or if, well, you would be dead. So, you know. Farrakhan said, stay away from the vaccine and never mention getting one from different countries. That's not true. That's not true at all. Farrakhan went on a 40-minute rant talking about Cuba and how he wanted the doctors, the brown and black doctors of Cuba, to be able to bring medicines to the U.S. that they can take. And those medicines are vaccines. So, snip, snap, snippity, snap, snap, done-itty, done. Like, done diddly un. Y'all better stop putting words in Farrakhan's mouth. Y'all better stop it. Words he never said. Does Chicago need a new mayor? No. I like Lori. Chicago needs to get his shit together is what needs to happen. It got shit to do with the mayor. Mayors only do so much, man. People have to take responsibility in their own hands to see the betterment of the places that they live. Keep putting it on people with limited powers. The mayor serves a very specific role fiscally and organizationally, but she's not finna go sweep your fucking alley for you. So, I mean, sometimes you got to be the change that you want to see. Just know you got somebody in there who actually gives a fuck about you. That's that part. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need. As long as you know somebody up there actually cares versus like, nah, I really don't care about you niggas. Like, just chill out, right? Everybody ain't finna agree with your monkey ass. Like, man, but what about giving me more money on my, like, nigga, nah, no. But, well, how come you ain't paint? No. Why don't you paint it? Like, you the mayor, though. Like, but, nigga, I'm not a house painter, motherfucker. Like, so I fuck with Lori. Shout out to the mayor. Booyah. Appreciate you for caring, cuz. You know what I'm saying? I know when somebody cares. The homie was like, she don't care. I know somebody. I can give you a list of 10,000 niggas in the city who don't care, who really don't give a fuck. Like, nah, I don't give a fuck about none of this. None of it. Nigga, get off my block. Like, that shit will shoot your ass up off the block. And they don't care. Really don't care. So, Lori cares. You know, the woman cares. So, fuck you. You know? Chief Lori. The Black Panther Party had a 10-point plan over 60 years ago. Is the black community asking for less now? No, I think that you got the black community has received a lot of shit since the past 60 years. A lot of progress, whether you want to identify with it or not, it's another thing. Also, I think that it's you're doing yourself a disservice by referencing the Black Panther Party if you're not in the Black Panther Party. You know, like, the Black Panther Party wasn't full of goofy ass niggas who just freshly got out the joint or just freshly read some book that from some Africa Fest and then started to think about revolution. Like, them brothers were very intelligent, professor level brothers, right? Who could sit and have a conversation about all kinds of European philosophy and all kinds of intellectual conversations and hold it there and didn't have to divert to fucking slavery or divert to some other kind of straw man argument or Tuskegee. These niggas like, you want to talk about Kant? Let's talk about Kant. And then, you know, let's talk about dialectical. What the fuck am I looking for? Let's talk about existentialism and all these other things and Sartre's influence on that role in the world. And let's talk, like, they can hold conversations which a bunch of you motherfuckers can't. So you not the BPP first. But what I will say is that I think that intellectual aspect and connected to the action of the BPP, not just a bunch of niggas talking some shit in the streets, is what made the BPP fascinating and relevant to this day. Shout out to Chairman Fred Hampton, Bobby Seale, and Huey P. Newton, rest in peace. No. So I don't know if black folks are asking for less. Just think maybe it's some black folks who don't know what to ask for, first and foremost. Or you asking for some shit that you already got. Niggas is greedy. Just think if the BPP was around today, what they would be working on. Like, yeah, okay, we solved that. We got rid of that. We solved that. Okay, cool. Let's get to the money. But I don't know. Do you snowboard? Yes, I actually do snowboard. I haven't snowboarded in decades, though. But yes, I am a beginner level snowboarder. I can get on one and not die. So, yeah. Is it possible that you request to put a specific non-for-profit up to receive donations on the lives? We were doing that, but what I didn't want to do is sometimes these lives get really randy, and I didn't want to bring in certain brands that have a certain brand messaging that they need to uphold to make $200 off my fucking live. So we've done that. We will continue to do that, but we will create very special spaces and special lives to do that for a limited period of time, and then we'll take it down. So I didn't want to keep doing that because I didn't want to get on here and talk a bunch of shit and be like, man, Lupe was on there talking about a bunch of shit with pyramids, and it was the Cancer Association, not a Cancer Association, pyramids and white people eating black baby heads, and this motherfucker was crazy. Like, no, I'm straight. So if there is a particular non-for-profit that's on the list that are available for donation that Instagram provides, hit me in the DMs and let me know, and we'll put that one up on the next one, the next time we do it. So for sure, you can make that request. Sleepless Prince. Choo choo. Have you seen the video of doctors fake giving the vaccine to people? The needle disappeared. No, I have not. Have you seen the video where that didn't happen? Have you seen those videos? The videos where none of that happened, where they actually gave them the documentary. Where's the podcast? The podcast, Lupe and Roy Show, is on Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast. So you can go subscribe right now. Just make sure you go there, search the Lupe and Royce Show, or you can go to saywhat.media to get the podcast. You know? So no, Dizzle, I have not. If the blacks and Hispanics refuse the vaccine, will they keep dying at higher rates? Well, yeah, but then it also, the issue is that the vaccine is only slated to save about 9,000 people. the projections that they're doing. The what needs to keep occurring, which is not occurring, is social distancing and wearing a mask. That'll save 60,000 people. So, I mean, even though the vaccine's here, it's going to be a while, and the impact that it's actually going to have is going to be small compared it, but it eventually will hopefully eradicate the disease if enough people actually take it. So if you don't take it, yes, and you catch COVID, yes, and you're black and Hispanic, yes, the chances of you dying are very high. So just take that into consideration. What in addition to why things are so bad is not because we don't have a vaccine. The reason why things are bad is because people running around without masks, people not social distancing, people not quarantining properly, people not testing properly. So, people not really taking exposure very seriously. That's what's driving this. So, even though there's a vaccine here in limited quantities, even though people are getting vaccinated right now, it still takes time for the vaccine to build up the antibodies and the immunity that you need. So it takes 4 weeks, or 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So, 21 days. In that 21 days, you still got to wear masks, still got to social distance, still got to do all of that stuff because you're, still possibilities, So, yeah. Homie said Lupe think he a doctor now. Or Lupe's a doctor now. It's funny because you're not. But we both not doctors. I'm definitely not a doctor, but you not one either. So it's like, it's the blind. Well, no, not the blind leading the blind. It's the not doctors leading the not doctors. And doctors is looking like, what the fuck is y'all niggas doing? What are you doing? Neither one of y'all are doctors. Get out of the emergency room. Like, man, I was going to come in here and, just stand around and look and make sure, my presence and my energy was just going to bring a healing energy into the room and really just start healing broken legs and necks and start healing diseases and cancers. But I'm just in here, I just got these J's and these genes is fire, right? But these genes are powerful and they're able to emit the aesthetic and the drip that I bring into the emergency room is enough. Like, nigga, get your motherfucking ass out of here. Like, all right, I'll see y'all together. I'll see you later. Call me, okay? Do 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 do. Does my city, New York, shout out to Joseph Lyman 17, need a new mayor? Crime's starting to look like how it did in the 80s. Well, man, the community, you know what I'm saying? Community policing, Motherfucking put some social workers in there to talk to these rapists, and these fucking killers. Maybe if you just had more social workers in there to kind of deal with these fucking homicidal maniacs and to the bone thieves, maybe that'll do something. You know what I'm saying? Build a basketball court for these niggas, and they could just basketball their way out of they fucking, bloodlust. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Chiggy 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 chee. Who bought and brought the first? Shout out to Bebe Genius. First slaves to America. Do you even know? To America. I would say the Spanish. Well, to the Americas, right? Or North America. There was no United States at that time. So I would say the Spanish. Maybe the Portuguese. The Portuguese were some of the earliest. And then it just kind of changed hands. But all countries were operating in the slave field. And not all countries, but representatives of different countries. So there were some Germans in the slave trade. There was some, whoever had a contact to Africa, a trading contact in some capacity, which is most countries had slaves. So, I mean, the Dutch, the German, the French, the British for sure. The British were some of the last. Who else? The Portuguese, but the Portuguese were the earliest, and that from my understanding, and the archaeological evidence proves that, right? That's some of the earliest traders. But on the other side, well, you said to the Americas, so yeah. But I don't know if maybe the Portuguese, but I'm thinking the Spanish. There you go. Why hasn't the world retaliated against China for starting COVID? I mean, maybe because it's a stupid fucking idea that's going to lead to nothing but war and death and bullshit. Your iPhone's going to cost $80,000. Man, how come my PlayStation costs $100 million right now? So, that's because China's charging niggas quadruple to make them motherfuckers now. Like, oh, really? Is that what my Jordans cost? $17,000? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why. My Jordans are made in Vietnam, though. Yeah, but Vietnam is a close trading partner with China, and they're going to kind of congeal around each other and just really like, oh, you gonna fuck with Chinese and you can't fuck with us either. Fuck, we don't even really need America except to sell our shit. But now what? Fuck y'all. It's gonna be one of those. I'm like, oh, okay. We didn't know y'all was gonna all stick together when we attacked one. We didn't know all y'all was just gonna stick. Now we can't even fly no more. Okay, fine, fuck it. Do. Ju. What do you think about the police raid on the naked woman in Chicago? It was fucked up. Raids is a motherfucker. Have you ever been in a raid? Them shits is crazy. Them motherfuckers go in like, better put all that shit on the floor. Stop what you doing, bitch. Get on the ground. Handcuff them niggas, put them on the couch. Where these kids at? Handcuff them kids. Set their ass over there. Don't handcuff my baby. Don't put no handcuffs on my baby. Like, shut up, bitch. Sit on the couch. Oh, Lord, it's a sight to see. But yeah, that was fucked up, man. Went in the wrong house. She gonna get paid, though. For sure. So, that part. Shit happens, bro. Shit happens. Do 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 do. The WHO says only children 12 and over should wear a mask. The CD says 2 and over. That's life threatening. Your thoughts? I mean, everybody should wear a mask. Don't roll the dice. Just wear a fucking mask. The hope would be is that, you know, your children aren't out and about. Like, you know, you're not supposed to be out. You're supposed to just be kind of chilling. You know, that's the whole point. So hopefully you're not putting your children in a spot where they even need a fucking mask in the first place. But, I mean, if you are, then they should wear a mask. Whatever the CDC says or the WHO says, like, protect your babies, man. What the fuck is wrong with you? But the reasoning behind that is that children aren't seen to have super adverse effects. Also, children are short. So they're kind of like out of the way of where your fucking sick face is until you get all in a little face. But your sick ass adult head is like towering above kids. So all the virus that's spilling out of your stupid face isn't really landing on the kid's head and shit. So there's that. The kids are kind of out of the way. But regardless of that, you know, wear a mask, man. If you're going somewhere with your babies and your babies is out, slap a mask on that little motherfucker, man. Keep them safe. You know? And then it's up to you for you to wear a mask. So even if your babies don't, you not gallivanting and rolling around and then bringing that shit back to your child. And you're like, well, my baby, man. My baby, man. Like, put on a mask. Take your ass home. You know? What up, Smokey? Niggas keep throwing these clown emojis, not realizing that Ronald McDonald is a clown. And he's the richest nigga you know. Stupid clown, you're a clown. Like I am. I'm Ronald McDonald. The richest nigga in the room right now. Yes, me with the paint on my face and these big ass shoes. But you, brother, you are not a clown. And you the brokest nigga I've ever seen. Like... You're the most unimpactful, inconsequential, brokest nigga I've ever seen. Now, if you're going to either order a burger or go and get the fuck on. Jiggity jig. So the book, Medical Apartheid, is false in their recording of the Tuskegee experiment. If the book, Medical Apartheid, says that at Tuskegee, black men were injected with syphilis, it is false. If it, however, does not say that, then it is accurate. When you say that black people were injected, not infected, injected with syphilis at the Tuskegee experiment, you, my friend, are wrong. That's it. It's not hard. Did people have syphilis? Yes. Did they give syphilis to other people? Yes. Did they get lied to about being treated for syphilis? Yes. Did it carry on for 40 years? Yes. Yes. Were they injected with syphilis? No. It's not hard. It's not hard. You been addicted to chess? Man. I've been playing solitaire. I've been on that. Shoo-boo-doo. The homie said I got to stop watching celebrity lives. Hey, listen, what you should do is you should just start your own live. 803.mov, then you could be in the position that I'm in. You could just do all of what I'm doing right now to your people. I'm with you. I think you should start your own. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? My pops was a Mason. Yeah, I think my pops was a Mason. He was also a Moor, and he was an Imam. My pops was a lot of things, for sure. I think I have his Masonic ring, too. Somewhere around here. Or my mom's got it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. This shit is... Why is it so hard to find a cure for cancer and other existing diseases, yet shit is different for COVID? Oh, my man. First of all, we don't have a cure for COVID. There's no cure for COVID, right? Just vaccinate to keep people from catching it, right? So they don't have to deal with it in the first place. That's different from a cure. A cure is like, I have something, I'm going to give you something that actually kills that thing. That's not how that works, right? Your body, your immune system is what quote unquote cures things by actually killing it, right? So we don't have the certain level of sophistication to go in and kill things. Now you can look at antibiotics as a cure, but there's a catch with antibiotics. Where antibiotics actually goes in and kills something, right? Antibiotics kill everything. Right, so again, there's that sophistication, that targeting, which the medical research has to a certain degree, but lacks overall in certain situations. So very specific diseases, which are really, really good at hiding, right, or really, really, say, for instance, I just learned this about Lyme disease. The bacteria that causes Lyme disease, it literally drills itself into the cells, right, and then creates a film over the cell so no antibiotics can get through the film, right? So you take a disease like that, which is like, well, how do you kill that, right? Like, first you got to figure out how to get rid of the film, but do that in a way where you don't destroy everything around it. Then it's like, if I can get rid of the film, I can kill the bacteria, right? So it's a process. I mean, it's certain diseases are simple, certain diseases are not. Viruses, to a certain degree, some viruses are very simple in terms of what you need to do. Others are not. Others are really, really fucking hard to figure out. Same thing with certain bacteria. Certain bacteria is very easy to kill. There's other bacteria which ain't at all, right? Certain infections and stuff like that. So cancer is a little bit different because cancer originates in the body, right? It's not something that comes from outside of the body. It's not like a virus or a bacteria, and it's like, there's the cancer bacteria, so we can find it and kill it before it happens. Cancer is a product of just your natural body, like the way your body grows, its natural processes, and it's just a mistake or a mutation in that process. And can that mutation be triggered from external forces? Yes, it can. But is it something that's in us all? Is the ability for it to be triggered in all of us? Absolutely. Cancer is a natural part of life, right? And it's interesting because the inverse thing about cancer basically is your cells have lost the ability to kill themselves. So think about that. If you look at cure, what does that mean? That I'm killing something that's wrong, literally going in and destroying it, tearing it apart, ripping it to pieces, breaking it down to its potential parts, those being absorbed or being repurposed somewhere else, right? Or being consumed and broken down in another way to basic elements. And those elements are either shitted out or reused in the body in some capacity, right? So you think about something like cancer. Cancer is basically, at its most basic explanation, those cells which have mutated and are now starting to cause adverse effects, they lose the ability to kill themselves. The difference between regular cells and cancer cells is cancer cells have lost the ability to kill themselves, meaning that they've recognized that something is wrong, right? Like there's something really wrong. There's something toxic happening. There's a mutation that has occurred and now shit is fucking up. But in that process, it has lost the ability to kill itself. That's called apoptosis. You can look it up. Apoptosis. Apoptosis, one of my favorite words. Apoptosis. Like a Pop-Tart? No. Apoptosis. So that's at a super basic level. So it becomes, how do you stop that? Right? How do you reflip that switch? Right? How do you attack that problem? And I think that's where a lot of people should be thinking, like all of you people who like video games and like to think about complex things and play chess and do all that stuff. Instead of just focusing on how can I play the best game of chess? How can I craft infinite, bullets in fucking GTA? Maybe apply some of that thinking to, man, how would I be able to flip a cell, right, into having the ability to kill itself and cure cancer? Boobity, bibbidi, I hope that answers your question. Let me get my big homie. Thoughts on COVID delirium bringing on dementia? Yeah, man, COVID is it's a blood clotting situation, right? So it causes strokes and other aspects. And if I'm not mistaken, dementia has a correlation some way to blood clotting. I could be 100% wrong. But yeah, I mean, there's a cascade of things that occur when blood clots start to appear in various ways. So, wear a mask. I was on live with RZA last night and I have a few questions for you. Shoot the questions. Shout out to Panda. Shoot me the questions. What are they? Throw them in the question box. Is it reasonable to say I'm not getting the vaccine so there's a legal safety net? There is a legal safety net. It's been around since 1986, 1987. It's called the vaccine court. If you take the vaccine and you get hurt in any way that has to do with that vaccine, where it was administered, the needle that you was poked with, if you slipped and bust your shit in the vaccination room, whatever, if somebody called you a nigga while you was getting vaccinated, like, there is legal recourse for that. That's a myth that there's no legal recourse if something happens to you when you get vaccinated. It's called the vaccine court. They hear cases all up and down the dial. And if you get fucked up taking a vaccine, there is recourse for you. So, no, it's not reasonable to say that because the legal safety net has been around for 40 years. Is that 40 years? No, 86 wouldn't be 40 years. That's like 30 years. And some change. Have you seen her? Have you seen her? Joey, have you seen her? What's going to happen to the subjects that got Bell's palsy? First, they have to confirm if the Bell's palsy was actually directly correlated to the vaccine. If they have a history of Bell's palsy, there'll be a whole investigation done. If those people choose to go down the route like we just mentioned with vaccine court, then that all of their medical history and everything will be brought to bear, and they will go to court, and then they will be heard in front of something called the special master, which is basically like a judge, and then they'll prove their case. And if the case is proven that the vaccine is called Bell's palsy and it put them in a negative disposition, the one thing you have to understand about Bell's palsy is that it's not necessarily a life-threatening disease, and that it happens to people who have never been vaccinated and people who will be vaccinated. And Bell's palsy is just one of those things that will be here. And that, if people feel that it was triggered because of that, then they can go take their claim to the court. Fortunately, there is no, you don't die from Bell's palsy, So, and most people, they recover within a few days or a few weeks, and they go back to living normal lives, minus the Bell's palsy. So that's what I think's gonna happen. Out here in the streets. Out here in the streets. Out here in the streets. Would you debate vaccines with Dr. Ali Muhammad? Absolutely. I've battled, confirmed, fought dragons with, talk that shit to anyone. Always ready, shout to whomever wants to slide into the chat and talk about vaccines. I'm always down to learn and turn. You understand? Y'all do know he a rapper, right? What does that mean? Are you trying to disparage my craft? Rappers are some of the smartest people on earth. I know this because the smartest people on earth tell me that rappers are some of the smartest people on earth, because some of my friends are the smartest people on earth. True shit. Out in the streets, what you doing? I'm in the streets, being a creep. Look at my feet, ooh. Walking around the sneaks, looking for somebody ass to beat. I'm in the streets. Shh. Be quiet. Put your mouth on a diet. Somebody finna dive to try it. I'm in the streets. That nigga in the streets. Remdesivir is in fact a cure for the China virus. No, it's not. They did a trial on remdesivir and that shit didn't do anything. Just letting you know. Yeah. Out here in the streets. Out here in the streets. Out here in the streets. I'm out here in the streets. Help me out. How do I know the vaccine won't hurt me? I mean, do you have a history of allergies? How old are you? If you're under 16, you can't take the vaccine anyway. They're not going to give it to you. What else? Not yet anyway. Not now, but probably not ever. And then what's the other one? Yeah, your medical history. If you've got a history of having adverse reactions to vaccines, then maybe you shouldn't take it. They probably wouldn't even give it to you, to be honest. Also, what else? Yeah, I mean, that's really it. It's really just your medical history. if you're aware of your own medical history, I would have hesitations on that. Like if you're super allergic to some shit. I'm talking about allergic where you have to carry around an EpiPen or something like that. Or if you just have a history of having very extreme immune reactions. If you have a history of like autoimmune diseases, right? Those are the things that I would keep in mind to make your decision. Anything else, I wouldn't worry about. I would just more so worry about your own personal medical history and how aware you are of your own medical history. And if you have any hesitation about having that, then maybe you sit this one out, just to be honest. Because you're rolling the dice either way. But also know that sitting out the vaccine, you're still going to be susceptible to catching coronavirus. And coronavirus provides even the same type of risks. If you have autoimmune disorders, your medical history, adverse reaction, all of that stuff, you're between a rock and a hard place, so to speak. Unless you just social distance and wear a mask and do like really, really hammer down on the middle ground, where you should be just as strong not taking the vaccine, right? Just as strong as you would be like, I'm not taking the vaccine, and everything you would do to not take the vaccine, you should have that same type of energy to not catch COVID, to not catch coronavirus. So the same kind of like, nope, I'm ducking it. Fuck it. Nope. Not me. You got to do the same thing for coronavirus. If you're really worried about you having a adverse reaction, because the coronavirus is going to do the same fucking shit to you, right? And worse. So I would just be cognizant of that. I'm not pushing the vaccine so hard. I don't give a fuck if you take it or not. I don't. Like, man, but you told us to take it. Yeah, I did. And you told me that you weren't going to take it. So then after that, it was like, well, there you go. Now I don't give a fuck if you take it. Smokey the Ghost, I'm not even doing that no more. That like people are scared of vaccines but will pop pills, codeine. I'm not even doing that. Like I'm not even doing that shit. Those are 2 different things, 4 different things, 5 different things. I'm not going to do the whataboutisms and the relativity and all of that stuff. It's like, if you're not going to take the vaccine, just don't take that motherfucker. But do me a favor. Let me know that you're not going to take it so I can get the fuck away from you first, right? But I'm not finna hit you with a whole bunch of, but you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, you do. Niggas know what the fuck they take, right? Most people know that, like, yeah, I eat like shit. I eat bullshit. I'm really sick now because of the way that I live, so having a vaccine or not isn't really going to matter. Like, so, that shit's over with. We kind of talked about it. You eat more mercury in your fucking tuna fish sandwich than you would ever get in 1,000 doses of fucking vaccine. So, and that real mercury too. Not like that mercury that's actually in the thermometers that they keep saying, I'm talking about the mercury that's in the thermometers, brother. That type of mercury. Like, yeah, nigga, that type of mercury is in your cabinet right now. It's chilling with some fish. It's in your freezer in that salmon right now. That kind, right? That kind. You eat more of that shit. But, y'all should have been eating Honey Bunches of Oats. My man, let me get it. You the man. Love you, bro. Excuse me, I'm finna sneeze, though, real quick. Wait, am I? Hold up. Hey, yeah, woo. That was one right there.